AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
All right, here for the midweek pod with Tom. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I start every other pod by saying, "Oh, my hay was really bad. My hay was really bad."
Absolute snowflake.
It is super bad today. So if anyone's watching by the video, you might want to look away for the rest of the show because I'm going to be in all sorts of bother, in all sorts of trouble, and you might be able to tell by my nasally nose for those that, yeah. And I will try not to sniff. I will try not to blow my nose during this thing, but I cannot promise anything at this stage.
You want to get some extra powerful steroid spray ones that'll sort you out forever.
Today I've had about 2 different types of pills, 2 each. Doesn't seem to have anything. Just have to ride the wave. I don't even know how I'm getting hay fever. It's September. It's ridiculous. I don't. And also, a guy did recommend me some, and I was using those, and they seemed to work for a couple of weeks, and even those have seemed to have. But anyway, people don't want to hear about this. They hear about every other show I'm on, so anyway.
Deary me. Well, the agenda for today is financials. So United reported their Q4 and full financial year up to end of June 2024. They are not good. And we'll talk about some of the PSR implications of that and some of the other financial jiggery pokery going on. Manchester City's case starts on Monday. Leicester got let off with the most ridiculous loophole ever. And then there's not a lot of football news going on, but United do have Southampton. The weekend lunchtime kickoff on Saturday. Yeah. So, should we start with the financials or do you want to start with the football?
I mean, I guess one of the other things from the football perspective was seeing Angel Gomes.
Oh, yeah.
For England.
Yeah. Well, let's start with internationals. Yeah, because that's a nice place to start. So he came on as a sub against Ireland, played 10, 15 minutes. Can't remember what it was, not much. And then started against Finland, played the whole game. 116 passes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a United central. I didn't check it out. I was too lazy to go check it out. But I don't think we've seen a United central midfielder make that many passes since Michael Carrick retired.
Yeah, I would be amazed if it's happened, to be honest. I mean, obviously we had some times under Ten Hag, didn't we, where we just pass. But if it didn't happen then it wouldn't have happened. But I feel like what I saw with Angel Gomes is just this, which is incredible to have watched him in the academy and never really seen this, but his just ability to spot danger and make tackles and his intercepting and his quickness across the floor. It was almost like watching a young Owen Hargreave, but with better technical quality. It's I know that's kind of what his role has been at Lille, but it's wow, you have transformed so quickly.
Yeah, he's a central midfielder now and not a number 10 that he was in the academy at United. And obviously I can't remember how old he was. He was 16 or 17 when he made his debut for United.
Yeah, youngest player, I think, since Duncan Edwards.
Yeah.
For United.
And a lot of people are upset that he didn't make it, but he was a number 10 at that point and he'd had to displace Bruno Fernandes. So I guess he just didn't see a pathway to making it United. He's gone over to Lille, which is a big move for him, taking a risk and played a year at Boa Vista and 2 at Lille now and seems to have been progressing every year. Can't confess to having seen him play every week or anything like that. He is out of contract next year. And of course, given his performance for England, everyone's going, should we bring him back?
Yeah.
So it'd be a freebie in the summer.
And I think he said last year in an interview that he'd love to go back because United is his home and stuff. And apparently we'd never put, not that it matters, but he's out of contract next year, but apparently we'd put a sell-on clause or a buyback clause in his contract because obviously, he's an Olympics back in the day, like they were doing things correctly. So that would have been an absolute, if it had ended up at Liverpool or City or something, classic United. But yeah, I mean, there's a room for him. And I think he's a different type of player to Kobe Mainoo. I think actually, like, they do have similar types of qualities, but they also have different types of qualities as well. They actually probably work quite nicely next to each other. And have we seen from like what we're potentially going to get from Ugarte, who's obviously just been on international duty and hopefully will be back playing this weekend, though he arrived back to the squad late. He is better on the ball than Ugarte. So like, and obviously he won't cover the ground as much and he won't win as many tackles and won't get as many interceptions. But as we saw, I know against a very admittedly poor Finland team in midweek, he is good at that as well.
Yeah. Transition to a slightly different style under Lee Carsley. Obviously he's not had loads and loads of time to coach the team. So it was a tweak rather than a real big change, but definitely threw more players forward and there was a lot of ball retention. England just looked like hate to say it, modern European football side.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not banging the drum for Lee Carsley because I don't really know if he's any good as a coach or anything like that. We'll see what England do. I mean, not a problem, is it? But it was definitely nice seeing Angel Gomes. For Uruguay, Ugarte played an hour and then 90 minutes. And so he needed it because he basically didn't do pre-season with PSG. They froze him out of the team to make sure he moved on. So he needs that time. It would be unusual for Ten Hag to throw him straight in, wouldn't it? Just because he just doesn't seem to want to do that. But given just how bad Casemiro was against Liverpool, Southampton, from what I've seen this season, completely different side though. They're not. Yeah. I don't think they're gonna crowd us in midfield the way Liverpool did. Or we managed to vacate the midfield and Liverpool had free reign in midfield. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. But Southampton have averaged 68% possession in their 3 games to date.
And you almost think Ugarte, therefore, is kind of perfect for this type of game with the way that he shuts down opponents, the way he tackles, his fight. Like if Southampton, which they have done in their 3 games so far, 3 games so far, try and play out from the back and like they did against, in their last game, was it against Forest or the game before? Either on anyway. They conceded 2 goals from trying to pass out via the back. And you just think, if we can crowd them with as many players who are going to win the ball back as quickly as possible, then maybe they'll change it up, but it doesn't look like it. They feel very dogmatic under Martin.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that United do press high with an attempt to win the ball back and then retreat immediately when they don't do it. It's almost as if, I don't want to sound like an internet tactico here, but almost as if it's around high turnovers rather than kind of disrupting the opponent. Insofar as like as soon as they lose the ball, everyone seems to retreat. And so didn't get that many high turnovers against Liverpool. It wasn't as functional. Obviously, Mason Mount really helps in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's back or not. He's been doing one-on-one personal training sessions, apparently, also get fit again. So who knows when he's back exactly. I mean, I can't remember the weeks they put on it as an estimate. So I think he's not back for Liverpool. We'll hear from Ten Hag on Friday, I guess. Sorry, Southampton. And then, so, I mean, if Southampton are going to play out from the back and we're good at winning the ball high up the pitch, there could be some opportunities there. Ugarte, I presume, will be occupying a deeper role. And he did that pretty well from what I saw of the highlights of the Uruguay games. Scuttles with the ball, doesn't he? Carries the ball well, wins it back, carries it well. Actually played a great ball inside for Plestri to create one of the chances for Uruguay. So not horrendous with the passing, although I think we shouldn't imagine he is the second coming of Carrick here. That's just definitely not his strength.
Yeah. I guess we want him to win it back as quickly as possible and then play it to the more technically able players, which is fine as a stopgap. And as a stopgap, that's the problem there, that we should we always shouldn't be signing players like this. And it kind of just, I don't want to judge him too early. He's not even played a single game yet. So it's very harsh to, but I think it just kind of looks at it. So it's how sporadic nature, even under Ten Hag, like the way that we've been looking at so many different types of centre midfielders, De Jong to Casemiro in that transfer window, and now to Ugarte, like, what is the system? And I think that, bringing Ugarte into that midfield, it will definitely shore up a few holes and fill a few gaps. It's just, hopefully it works, but can't hang a hat on it.
I mean, the thing that Angel Gomes' performance did as well was go, hey, Kobbie Mainoo should be making 100 passes a game. Yeah. He's perfectly technically capable of doing it. And I don't think it's that he's not wanting to get on the ball. I think it's the system where United try and get the ball forward really quickly. Yeah. And they're not hoofing it long, but it's just direct. And so we're not creating control in midfield in that way. But he's perfectly capable, I think. And in a system that prioritised building up through the centre, he would make 100 passes a game. But
I think this is, the thing that kind of really I took from Gomez's performance as well is that if he'd had stayed at United, we wouldn't have made him into that player. We wouldn't have created the discipline that he has, like the ability. And that takes a lot for a number 10 who was very much like playing in a free role for the academy and England youth teams. Like, was just kind of going, because he was so technically good, going anywhere to find the ball. And like, if you think back to like that under-17 World Cup team when he was playing with Sancho and Foden, that was the elite of the elite. I think Mason Mount was also in that squad. Morgan Gibbs-White, who was again in the England squad. Like, that team was stacked full of quality, and Angel Gomes was actually the captain at the start of that tournament. Like, technically unbelievable. So for Lille to be able to retrain him to play as disciplined as he is, the reason why he's getting so many touches of the ball is because of that discipline, because he's not marauding around the pitch to try and find the possession. He's staying in that sense in front of the defence, like finding the angle to receive the pass.
Right, yeah. All the time. He was always the first man available. He felt like he was constantly around the ball, yeah.
Incredible, like, how they've taught him to play like that. And you just think, United, that wouldn't have happened. We don't do that with players. Like, we don't make them disciplined. We don't retrain players to play in positions. Like, and I guess it comes to the nature of what United is as a beast. Like, we have to win now, therefore we can't kind of take project players on. But like, Liverpool do it. Like, Liverpool improve players and retrain them to play in different positions. Like, Gravenberch potentially is an example of that. Like, you can see how
we'll see.
He's potentially come. Yeah,
I'm always a bit suspicious after a couple of games going, he's the next coming of Beckenbauer. Yeah, I mean, come on, we'll find out. Yeah.
It is true for sure. But yeah, that would, like I say, like, the best thing that happened for Angel Gomes was that he left United to be able to become this player, because
and I don't think it was wrong for United to, he didn't want to sign that new contract anyway. And I don't think it was wrong for clearly for Angel Gomes, it's the right decision because he got game time and he's developed as a player as a result.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'd be interesting next summer. I think Petit has said, United looking at 2 midfielders next summer, which makes a lot of sense if Eriksen and Casemiro go. Eriksen definitely. Casemiro depends on finding someone to take him off our hands in some fashion. So maybe 2 or 3 midfielders. And, well, there's an option there with Angel Gomes. Maybe you'd think United would be at the front of the queue if we believe in him. And I mean, albeit he plays in the Farmers League and then playing against a poor Finland side, but he did look a very, very good player, and just kind of goes to show you, like, although the game has developed into a very physical game in the Premier League, I think I saw a data point. I'm not sure whether it was Arsenal or one of the teams who mentioned to one of the journalists that the game's 30% faster than 20 years. And I don't know exactly how they're measuring it, because I don't think there are 30% more passes, but whether it's in sprints or amount of time, length of running or whatever it was, but it has become really physical. But I think you look at a player like Gomes and you go, okay, well, there still is room for smaller players.
Yeah, because that was always, again, an issue. Like, you just kind of saw him, especially when he made his debut at 16, you're like, this guy ever make it in the Premier League? Well, yeah. If you've got the ability, then you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Southampton away at St Mary's. We've had a few shitty results on the South Coast over the years. I mean, there were some famous ones, weren't there? Not being able to see each other in the grey kit one. I haven't got one of those. I really want one of those kits, actually. Those are pretty rare. I just feel like I could be invisible, just go rob a bank and no one would be able to see me. So, yeah, I did just find an outlet to get one of those windbreaker jacket things.
Oh, wow, really?
The little flashes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I ordered that. The only thing, I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I really did.
We found one for Agate despite it being sold out everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's he ever done? He's not a loyalty part, is he? And then the only thing that gave me pause, it's a template, isn't it? So Germany's jacket, Spain, a whole bunch of others. I think maybe Portugal and Nike. I can't remember. Yeah, a whole bunch basically look the same. And you're just like, United shouldn't have template stuff. Biggest fucking club in the world.
Yeah.
Should custom design stuff for us.
I swear they used to do like Nike and Adidas, but I feel like early 2000s, it felt like everyone was wearing kind of different types of kits, but the trend over the last 15 years has just been everyone kind of wears the same type.
We sell 2 million kits a year. They can do a template for us.
I know, you see people on Twitter doing it. I
don't think it's hard on the printing either. Anyway, United have to win.
Yes.
I mean, 2 defeats in the past 3 games, catastrophic against Liverpool. I don't know whether you saw the presidential debate and all the shenanigans around that.
Yeah, highlights.
I'd say, watch it with the kids. They were
wow.
going, what? They eat dogs?
They're eating
bags.
I'm not sure if the kids speak like that. But.
One of the analysis, someone used the term to describe Donald Trump as a beta cuck. And I was like, yeah, that's Ten Hag. He is a beta cuck. He's got 0 riz, and there's Rude there waiting to cuck him. Straight at the moment's notice, he can just slot straight in. No pun intended. Arnie Slot.
It really does feel like he's sitting there with his size, just waiting for the opportune moment.
Yeah, it's just a knife him in the back.
Yeah.
I don't expect, because the Ineos team, they've made pretty radical changes, but they could have fired Ten Hag in the summer, and they literally didn't. So even if United would lose at Southampton, I don't expect them to give them P45 on Monday. But God, it's bad enough against Liverpool, and it's heightened because it's Liverpool. But if United lose 3 in a row to start the season,
if we lost to Southampton, that would be catastrophic. I think they're going to finish bottom. To be honest, especially the way they play, they're trying to do
very open.
But they're trying to do what Burnley did last season. That didn't work for them, and arguably, if they got potentially better players than what Burnley have, maybe, because I guess I don't really know, to be honest. They sold a lot of their players when they got relegated from the Prem, and obviously they did a good job to come back up, blah, 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 etc., etc. But playing that type of way in the Prem, it's just kind of asking for trouble. I feel like Martin will probably be shipped off relatively soon. But if we lost to them, it just feels like they're just kind of set up to be perfect for any team they play against because of trying to be better than they actually are. So if we ended up losing to them, I can't see in my head. I'm usually quite negative when it comes to United predictions and results, and I have I guess I have history on my side because we lose so many games. But this, I just can't see us not going there. We're going to be so motivated. We're going to be so up for it, trying to bounce back after what happened against Liverpool. So it's not like St Mary's is an intimidating place to go. And like I say, the football is it's just perfect for us to just, a couple of after a couple of stray passes and then Bruno finish nice and easily, and hopefully it'll be a game where we could regain a little bit of confidence. Rashford hopefully get on the score line, got on that chair. One of the strikers as well. I'm guessing Højlund's not going to be back for this one, so maybe
I think so.
They scored obviously in the international break, so Yeah, I think we'll roll them over. And I just think these guys are going to be rubbish, and Russell Martin will go soon enough, and then they'll try and change their way they play and maybe have a chance of staying up. But all three of the seed sides that have come up pretty, and these are the worst of the lot, I think.
Yes, and I do think they'll give up chances for United. It'll be interesting to see whether we do just allow them to have the ball a lot and would try and hit them on the transition, which of course was Ten Hag's stated goal. Yeah. Best transition side in the world. Definitely not that. Maybe the best for the opposition.
Oh, yeah. Defensively in transition, we are abysmal. So therefore, I guess in some roundabout way, it's kind of
something like that. Yeah. All right. I don't know. That's a massive preview of the Southampton game, but yeah, pressure is massively on, and the absolute meltdown we will see on Twitter. And to be fair, from reasonable voices as well, I think if United lose this one, will pretty serious.
I think also if we lost, that means we've been outplayed because of the way that they play. It's not like we've kind of gone to Stoke and got unlucky with a long throw and a corner. If we lose to Southampton playing the way that they do, that means they played through our press, passed us off the park with their 60% possession or whatever. And that would be incredibly, that would be like, what the hell have we been working on for all these years? Like, what is happening under Ten Hag type of thing? And sure, like, if we sit in and counter them, I guess maybe that is kind of setting itself up for failure in some respects in that case, but I guess that's the way you play them. But they shouldn't be able to pass through us because, like I say, they haven't got the players to do it. They might have been able to do it in the Championship to reasonable success. They still finished in the playoffs. They had to go through the playoffs to get up. It's not like they won the league or anything. So yeah, to think that they're going to come up having not really had that much to the squad to try and play us off the park. Like I say, if they're able to do that on Saturday morning, Jesus, he's going to be in so much trouble. And like you say, from reasonable voices will be with their sides out asking for Ruud van Nistelrooy to take it right ASAP.
On the fitness side, Højlund obviously not back yet. He was given a few weeks, wasn't he? And Mount, I don't think we've heard anything of. Ten Hag may give an update on Friday, so we're recording on Thursday evening, so unclear yet. Sure, we were told was going to be back after the international break. Who knows? He hasn't played for United since February. Managed to get himself fit for England, though, didn't he?
Played the Euros for last start, yeah. One start in the Euros in the final.
Unbelievable. Surely we'll buy a left back next year. Surely.
Club as well. His former club, Southampton.
Yeah, that's it. He'll get himself fit. He'll come on for the last 5 minutes, twang his hammy, and that'll be it. He'll be out for another 6 months.
Yeah.
Deary me. But apart from that, Shaw, Højlund, Mount, we are pretty much at full strength at the moment. Yeah. With Ugarte coming into the squad, surely he will be at least on the bench for this one.
Yeah. It'll be nice to see him as like they say, it would be perfect for him to start this on like you said. And him also kind of laid back national break.
Long old flight from Montevideo.
Yes.
Very long. I've been to Buenos Aires a bunch of times and it's right next door.
Yeah.
It's very long.
And by the sounds of it, did you hear that Rodrigo Bentancur was chatting shit about his teammate Son Heung-min in the week? It's like more.
I did not see that. What did he say?
He said, so he was asked by someone, can you get me a signed shirt by Son Heung-min? And he said, just get one from his cousin. They all look the same. So that's caused a massive fallout. And it's like these Argentinian Uruguayan footballers are just still almost all the same, aren't they, with all their races?
They're all the same. Yeah. Jesus. I mean, I still can't believe Chelsea just managed to sweep the Enzo Fernandez thing under the carpet and we just never heard of it again. It was just all okay.
This is making captain and that'll get rid of it.
Yeah, well, that's it. I can't wait for the Chelsea meltdown. We're going to move on to financials now, I think. But civil war at Chelsea with the Clear Lake Capital clearly having gone, Todd, you're not a director of football. And of course they are. So Todd Bowley, individual investor, may have a long-term view of this, owns sports teams, and so on. Obviously got a massive ego. Otherwise he wouldn't have inserted himself into Chelsea's transfer dealings, which is all going really well for them. Yeah.
It is so.
And then Clear Lake because they're a PE firm, they will be looking at an exit strategy. And I don't know that their exit strategy was to get out after 2 years by selling to Todd Boehly, and they will need a multiple in order to provide a return for their investors, their LPs. And so there's this fight over who owns Chelsea and what is the strategy going forward. And they obviously have a challenge if they really want to grow as a club. They're going to have to get a new stadium. There's been talk again this week I saw about moving to Earls Court, big empty space in the middle of central London, or Chelsea anyway, West London. And so, yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. It's kind of fun.
But the thing is with Chelsea, you can't have these conversations about what the strategy is going to be when you've put in place a 10-year strategy, essentially, by putting all these players on ridiculously long contracts. Like, you maybe should have had this conversation a little bit earlier, really, lad, because you are in this for the long term. And it's so funny kind of listening to like talking heads, like experts from everywhere. Like I've heard kind of give their take on the Chelsea stuff. And it's like, and they always kind of ask the same question. Does this make sense? And people are trying to like roundabout ways going, well, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. Like, it's just hilarious because it doesn't make any sense. And it's just, and the more the more it happens, you just like, oh, I just want this to keep going because I've never seen anything like this. No one's ever seen anything like this.
It's great entertainment.
And you're kind of thinking like, am I being gaslit by this? Or is it really actually going to work? And when you kind of hear this story this week of people falling out at the upper echelons of the club, you're like, oh shit, maybe actually there is literally no strategy. And maybe all of us are right that this makes no sense. This is just mad. Well,
I don't know. Can you figure out the hiring and purchase acquisition strategy on players? Because I can't, because 20 odd players Maresca didn't want. And he was like, right, you guys get out, shipped out on loan or for losses. In fact, on some these mega contracts will have ratchets in. So they were spinning that they're on lower wages, but you look at their financials, it doesn't look like they have a low wage bill, got to say. And they obviously didn't make the Champions League this year. I mean, the way they have been spending, they really need to. They had to sell a hotel and the women's team to themselves in order to make PSR regulations.
Which they've been able to get away with as well.
Which they have in the Premier League, which I really think is another loophole. You should not. Yeah. Like, it's like us selling the Cliff to Sir Jim for 100 million. Go, okay, well, that sort our problems out. Yeah. We should do it. Why not? I mean, the Premier League said this is okay. Yeah. And then, so they sold a hotel and the women's team, and that's helped them make PSR regulations. UEFA have not accepted that because it has been in the UEFA rules. So Chelsea may well find themselves with a European ban if they're not careful, or a fine. I don't know whether there's any mitigation they can make in that case. I just had to drag it out for the next 5 years and then it will get time barred, as we all know.
Yeah.
Before we get on to United's financials, which we'll do, I'd like to comment on Leicester as well, who breached by more than Everton, so £29 million over their limit, and then argued in court through Nick DeMarco, well-known lawyer in this space, that they fell between the EFL and the Premier League regulations because there were 2 seasons in the Premier League and 1 in the EFL for the 3-year period. And they were like, well, neither of you can govern this because we weren't a member of like one for the whole period. In fact, given the dates, they weren't a member of the Premier League for 2 weeks. That's when they handed over their golden share. And so that's another loophole the Premier League will have to close. I mean, they should basically have a single set of regulations covering Premier League and the EFL. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll stop having all these cases soon because everyone will just start having to organize their finances better. What I really don't like and really don't agree with, and you can like kind of argue about whether PSR is good for the game or not. I think on balance it is, so that it creates some distorting effects. What I don't think is cool is the kind of arguments that some of the clubs are making. So we've seen Newcastle come out and say, oh, well, we had to sell our these younger players. Elliot Anderson, who's doing well at Forest. We had, no, just don't buy a bunch of players you can't afford. Then you won't have to sell younger players. And then Enzo Maresca said the same thing at Chelsea. And then Villa put out a press release claiming that they had to charge 97 quid for a Champions League game against Bayern Munich because of PSR regulations, which is absolute crock of shit. Yeah. It's just absolutely not true. These two things are not linked at all. They want to make more money because they're spending a lot of money because they're ambitious. And that's where PSR kind of does hold some clubs back because they have owners that are ambitious and they want to invest to grow the club and then hope to make money later. And in a sense, financial fair play and PSR regulations do hold those clubs back. Doesn't mean you can't grow and become successful. Look at Villa, right? They have managed it.
Yeah.
But if you say we're in a world of unlimited spending, well, Big Jim has got a massive fucking wallet. And if he wanted to, he could blow everyone else out of the water except for the state-owned clubs, of course. So no regulations. They would be winning everything because no one else would be able to compete. And then Big Jim will be just behind because he's really rich. I'm not sure that people actually want that. So.
Yeah, and I think that's, and I guess we're going to get onto the United stuff now, but like, I think that's what I've seen a lot of arguments kind of on Twitter and elsewhere from fans of other clubs saying this, like, oh yeah, United are able to get away with spending what they want. But like, did you not see like what our transfer window this year? We've sold so many players, and like the reason why McTominay had to go, and I kind of wanted him to go, but like in terms of our squad, like could have definitely done with McTominay, like as another body, as we saw against Liverpool. Like the reason why McTominay had to go if we wanted to get Ugarte is because we needed the money. We needed to balance the books out. Like we are playing along by the rules like everyone else. So like to obviously put point forward is so disingenuous, and it kind of just speaks to like the way that football fandom is obviously in this country, that like people, it's just all, and it's like politics as well. Like it's the same type of disingenuous arguments that people are making all the time. It's like, can't you just like have an unbiased opinion? Why are you always defending your club to the hill? Like, and United fans aren't like that because obviously we've had owners that we don't like down the years. So we've always kind of been very critical about the club, but like other clubs, especially like City and Newcastle fans, because they always have this messianic kind of feeling towards their owners because they've basically saved the shit. Like they were in such a bad position and they've lifted them out of obscurity to relevance and competitiveness again. Like, and with it, it's just brought this weird attitude where like they will not take any criticism. They will not look at anything in a truthful manner. They always have to have this kind of weird, like, oh yeah, we're going to wars for our owners thing. Whereas I think, as a fan base, United, we have problems too, but we've always had this kind of measuredness about us as a football club, which is really refreshing in this, especially in this like Twitter, social media world.
Yeah. Well, it's become part of the culture war in a way, hasn't it?
Yeah, really.
Different to politics, but it is football culture war. And I think the clubs putting out press releases and statements is totally disingenuous. They voted for it. Like it is a members club, the Premier League. They voted for the rules. UEFA's regulations, by the way, much more stringent. You can lose much less money. It's 30 million euros rather than 105 million pounds. And we're slowly moving into the squad cost rule. It's at 80% this year and 70% next year. And so if Villa want to be, and Villa or Newcastle or whoever, not just particularly picking on Villa, but if they want to be in UEFA competitions, they're going to have to fit into those rules. Deal with it. Stop being such fucking snowflakes. All right. Let's get on to United's financials, which are a real mess. So in one sense, it was record revenue. So this is the full year to 23-24 of £661.8 million. Obviously some of that in the Champions League. And the new Qualcomm deal kicked in, has been extended through to 2029. I'm always a bit suspicious when they do this kind of thing because I think by 2029, same with the Adidas lengthy contract, I don't think that will look that big by the time we get near the end of that Adidas contract. And 2029 for the fronted shirt deal, maybe they see a ceiling on the on the expansion of the football market, but I'm not sure about that. It's certainly not the way that American private equity investors are thinking about.
Yeah, not at all.
About football. Yeah. I mean, some of the other things. So we're up to 511 million of total debt. Joy. That's pounds.
Incredible.
And we lost something like 130 million over the 23-24 period. About 50 million of which were exceptional items associated with the takeover. And that's the really interesting one, because I'm quite sure United will have been in quite close discussions with the Premier League and the Independent Review Board that looks at these things to say, how much of this, if any, are we allowed to write off? Because I think the general consensus has been, this is not a thing that fits within the PSR write-offs. This is not community development. This is not infrastructure. This is not the women's team or youth development. This is not a thing that, albeit it's an exceptional item, is not allowable within PSR. So it will just be a cost, single year cost, but a cost nonetheless. And that's quite significant, 50 million, given you can only lose 105.
But what is that? Is that, I saw
legal fees,
it's like admin fees, almost like
legal
process,
fees
like,
and the
like,
investment bank. So the investment bank will have charged a fair old premium to do the transaction. So Rain Group will have been paid, tens of millions. Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think this includes any of Sir Jim's costs. I think this is just the Glazers' costs that they've gone, well, the club sold its own shares, so we're loading this on the club, which is actually normal in the way a transaction would take place, but just feels just another kick in the balls from the Glazers, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, don't forget that we're still here, boys, almost. That's what it's kind of like. It's like a little reminder.
Yeah, it is.
That they are still
still here. They have not gone. I don't know why they have not gone. Just go already, please. So Jim's got a big wallet. He can afford to buy out the rest of the club. And we've got a price set. Realistically, it's between 18 months and 3 years from the original transaction. We should be looking at that potential total buyout. If the Glazers will go. Like, if the two that are holding out will go.
And like you say, though, like that US equity funds, obviously because they keep buying into the Premier League, and Todd Bowley in particular thinks this way, that they believe that football isn't quite at the end of the bubble. It hasn't quite enlarged to a point where it's going to pop. And it is going to continue to grow and grow, and revenues will continue to increase and increase. And that, I guess, isn't the opinion of everyone. If you hear like economists and experts kind of talk about this, they don't believe that it will continue, especially if you look at like other leagues around the world. Like, can the Premier League continue to keep building revenue or upon revenue every single year when somewhere like France can't even sell their like TV?
Yeah,
rights?
I mean, it's a cautionary tale, isn't it? I mean, they just rolled over the previous contract post-COVID and kept the same fee. So in a couple of years, we'll get a sense of what the next contract looks like. UK TV contract. You know, the US is now the second biggest market for the Premier League and appears to be extremely successful. So, and I think they signed a new contract with NBC at the same time, didn't they? So it's probably in 2 years' time we'll get a sense of how the broadcast market is doing. On commercial, I think there's room to grow for United. I think we still are executing on the kind of older style, like we will get regional partners as sponsors. What comes next? How do we expand the brand and do the collabs? I wanted to mention this. United have hired Mark Armstrong from Paris Saint-Germain as a chief revenue officer. So who was part of the Paris Saint-Germain exec team, as was Jean-Claude Blanc, who's obviously part of Ineos. So that's where the connection comes from, who massively increased Paris Saint-Germain's commercial revenue.
Oh, they became a fashion brand as well. Like
that was the really interesting thing. They really leaned into the Paris side of things, and they became a fashion brand. And
they had a Jordan kit as well. Especially.
I mean, I'm not really into buying lots of like Nike sneakers, running shoes or whatever, honestly. But if they did a Jordan United collab, I think I might have to be right at the front of the queue. So, give me your money, take it all right now. Yeah. Take my money, I mean.
But the thing is, though, that, like, obviously that, yeah, potentially there is growth still there, but, like, the Glazers wanted 6 billion for United. Was it 6 billion they wanted? And they couldn't get anyone to come in and buy to charge that. And they kind of, I guess Chelsea were bought for, what was it, 3 billion?
2.5
billion. And they, obviously Todd Bowley came in with the mind, like, they haven't come in as a state to just throw away their money. They've come in as a club, to sell that club on for profit in a few years. They think that they're going to sell for probably 10 billion or something like that. But, like, really, that doesn't seem like that is going to be possible when the biggest club in the world, United, couldn't sell for 6 in 8 years' time or something. Are they going to be able to sell for 10? To me, like, I as it gets, I'm a layman, but it just feels like that is just,
well,
therefore, like, yeah.
What are your revenue sources as a football club? Broadcast deal, and there is, pretty significant evidence now that there's downward pressure on the broadcast deals. So I guess
and also when
economic picture.
When the labour costs are so high, like the cost of wages are so high, that I don't know, that's going to go down.
No, and that's partly PSR. I mean, certainly with Project Big Picture and definitely the European Super League, there was a very strict cost control measures in there.
Yeah.
Because, like, Real Madrid, Barcelona had their own reasons for wanting cost controls, but especially US private equity investors, they want cost controls because in US sports, it equals profit.
Yeah.
Like, you have strict cost controls, you then take out the rest as owners.
And you have that kind of...
They're allowed to do that.
And you have that knowing as well, don't you, that if I have a salary cap for the year, in 10 years' time, that salary cap will stay exactly the same. So, and therefore, and also when you're in that closed system, you know how much revenue you're going to get, blah, blah, blah. So it's a lot easier to predict how much the cost be and how much the income's. Whereas football's not like that.
Where the jeopardy is relegation, but also
or Champions League
or failure to get in the Champions League. Yeah. Which now with the expanded format will provide a 20 and a bit % extra revenue.
Yeah.
Over 25. Yeah. And so you will, like, teams that regularly get into the Champions League, there will be a bifurcation between that group of teams and those who don't, because they'll be making even more money. There's a bit more money in the Europa League, but not loads.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very important. Very important given United's massive loss. Clearly the club have been sort of briefing that they're comfortable in terms of their PSR position. They weren't desperate to sell before June the 30th. So this is a cycle from 21-22 through to 23-24. 21-22, there will be some COVID allowance, and it's been in previous cycles, of course, and accepted. So I don't think there'll be any argument about that. A lot of Twitter people do not like the fact that United got a bigger COVID allowance, but mainly it's to do with cancellation of summer tour, which does make a lot of money for United, 20 million-ish. So the club briefing, they're feeling okay about it. So I guess we'll take them at the word about that.
Yeah.
And they weren't desperately selling youth players for £45 million.
There was no kind of dodgy deals like Newcastle, like you spoke about.
Newcastle, Villa, Forest, Everton, Chelsea all got involved in this, didn't they?
Yeah, and they seem to have probably got away with all of that as well, whereas there was nothing like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with this guy, Mark Armstrong. He was at Nike and PSG, and clearly will come in with the aim of expanding United's top-line revenue, which is 661.8 million is still a record revenue to United. We need to get back into the Champions League, and we'll be looking and, like, cut some new deals and sponsorships and whatever they're going to do to increase United's revenue. I still think they should do something different with MUTV. It's this weird kind of niche product that they put a fee on, and I think given United's global reach, that a freemium model is better. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a media executive, but they'll be looking at that and going, okay, how can we, in the parlance, how can we increase our on-platform revenue? So, on their own platforms, because they're less in control of how they extract money from their social platforms. So, or is it behest of the owners who could change at any moment. But yeah, we'll see what this guy does. Interesting.
It will be interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully not with massive ticket price hikes, because there were some price rises again this year, second year in a row, prices rises. Yeah. Obviously jacked up parking, especially for disabled supporters, which has come with some controversy at other clubs as well.
That was one of the few good things that the Glazers did. To me, like, they didn't hike prices that high.
No, they did at first, and then they froze it for a decade.
Yeah. It kept remaining the same. Like, wow, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the thing to look about, and they've been obviously dipping their toes in the water here, is they've been, well, how you phrase this or how you describe this is interesting, because the club denied that they resell tickets for commercial and hospitality purposes. Although it doesn't half look like they are repackaging normal tickets, doing a bit of pre-match entertainment with a ex-player or whatever, and a pie and a pint of beer and a goodie bag and whatever in one of the warehouses. And a 30 quid ticket becomes 150 or something like that. Doesn't half look like they're doing that. And of course, at some other clubs, they're doing dynamic pricing, which is obviously pretty controversial with Oasis happening. I mean, it's very, like, everything here in the States is dynamic, right? It's just, and it's really annoying, actually. I was just looking at, to go off on a tangent, Larry David is doing a tour. He's coming here to Seattle.
Is that stand-up?
No, it's like conversation with, evening with.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's hosting it with him, but anyway, everyone's going to want to see that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I was just looking at the ticket prices this morning. $250 for the cheapest one. I was like,
oh my God.
And that'll be the raw ticket price. And then, so if, you want to go
the bleachers, probably
your partner of whatever. Yeah. Tier 3 at Benaroya Hall. And so that's 500, and then it'll be another 300 in fees and whatever. You're like, I know. That's pretty expensive. Yeah.
That has been one. I mean, everything's rising in prices, and food being one of the main things. But when it comes to tickets, it's unbelievable how much they've risen in price. And when kind of people were touting, Oasis is going to be like 100 quid, I'm like, underestimate. You could see I don't know, the Fugees, I think, were about 150 quid to see them on the back row. And I think Sum 41 are doing a tour at the moment. Sum 41, they were basically a 2003 band. 65 quid to go and see them. Everything is really expensive unless you're going to go to see niche bands. So tickets.
Well, live entertainment and music, especially because of streaming and the long tail effect.
Yeah.
It's hard to make money out of streaming. Unless you're Taylor Swift, and so live has become a really important part of that industry. And in football, it's coming. They want to do it because United are leaving money on the table, right? You sell out almost every game except the Carabao Cup game.
And that's what I was going to say. United tickets, actually, if you look at the whole grand scheme of reasonable. Yeah. And I went to see a 8th tier game, Ilkeston Town, the other week. It was during the international break. £13 for a ticket. I was expecting it to be about 3 or 4 quid. And when you kind of pay 40 quid or whatever to see United, you think it's pretty good.
Yeah. When I lived in North London, I took the kids to see Boreham Wood once. And it was a very easy train ride from where I lived. It was 20 quid. Clearly, I did not go and do that again. Because
I see it, just pricing people out. I'm going to see their local team.
I mean, 60 notes for dad and a couple of kids to go see Boreham Wood. And it was completely empty, of course.
Yeah.
Because my local club here is $12. So, or $100 for the season ticket.
Wow.
So
my parents live just outside of Elche, and they've just got relegated from a league. I think it was 90 quid for a season to get there.
Well, talking of continental football, AC Milan did really expensive tickets for the Champions League, back in the Champions League. And they were trying to charge €129 as their cheapest ticket, up on the 3rd tier in the San Siro. Fantastic stadium, but often empty.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very empty for European games because people are saying no.
That is also the difference between English and continental football. We just don't have that solidarity. And we don't really when it comes to anything. Like we don't have that revolutionary kind of gene in English.
No, European Super League was the one where it really boiled over, right?
Yeah, the one and only, really. And yeah, when it comes to ticket prices, we kind of just sit and accept it, really. Whereas, yeah, especially places like Germany, like they really go all out and like they don't fill the stadium. And obviously it happens a little bit, and we've obviously seen it at United quite a bit under the Glazers, where we had like protests where we walked out early, or the fans came in late and stuff like that. But that club to club solidarity, which I think this would only if there was kind of action going to be taken and it was actually going to make, we would need that club to club solidarity. I can't see it happening. Though it did happen, like you say, with the Super League, so maybe there is a chance of it. Yeah, I think this tide is probably going to come very soon, and it's going to be very expensive.
Matt Ford on Twitter, writer for Deutsche Welle and others, he's been on the pod before to just talk about fan culture and stuff. So he was putting out some interesting stuff today about how club supporter groups in Germany swap information about the end and the dimensions, even the dimensions of the away section, so they can organize their tifos, and choreograph whatever they're going to do. And just a much better supporter culture. Much better. And I mean, obviously they protested quite hard against the weapons manufacturer that they signed a sponsorship deal with, Borussia fans. And I wonder whether United fans would. I mean, if we signed a deal with BAE Systems or something like that.
Oh my God.
Making the Eurofighter. Would we complain about that? Because it doesn't really matter what side you're on in whatever conflicts are going on around the world. As football fans, probably going, do we want to be associated with dropping bombs? You know, it's like, I don't think it's a big stretch to think like that. And unsurprising that Borussia Dortmund fans push back. Which United fans, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're definitely better than like the types, obviously, like the likes of City and Saudi, like. But as we saw with the Qatar potential takeover, like half of our
lot of stands, a lot of stands for that.
A lot.
I mean, we talked about it on this pod. Paul and I did when United signed a deal with Saudi Telecom, and who are predominantly state owned, and so obviously links with that regime, and United had a deal with Saudi Telecom for a while. I think that has run out now, but still, football's ability to find a moral centre is always challenged.
Yeah.
Even this week, I don't know, Martin Calladine, the investigative journalist, he's been digging into Fulham's new sponsor. I think they're called IUX, they're a crypto company, and appear to have a whole bunch of fake employees on LinkedIn.
How is that still happening?
All over the place. Yeah. It's still happening.
Yeah, he's really good. He's on that all the time, almost every day, isn't he?
Ugly game, yeah. Really is sometimes. Well, United's financials were pretty ugly. Just to round this out, guiding 145 to 160 million EBITDA for next season, free cash flow effectively, and 650 to 670, so round about the same revenue. Be hard to push beyond that with front of shirt, main sponsor, kit, broadcast all done. Obviously more games, so an extra game in the Europa League, and it'd be very hard to not get several extra games. You really have to be bad to get knocked out of this tournament.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine there'll be at least one more because they made the playoff. They've got to make the top 24, come on.
Oh, wow.
And probably more than that, given the standard of the competition. So a lot of games, United make about 5 million a game revenue for match day. So that will be why it'll make up for some of the stuff. And then on the cost side of things, all the costs were up, but they did say that they expect to make between 45 and 50 million in savings from all these redundancies, although there are 10 million in costs, and that'll be redundancy packages, I guess. So long-term benefit, and I'm really cautious about saying that because it's obviously not a benefit for the people who've been fired and now without a job. All right. I think that's about it. Come on, United. Please. Please.
I mean, obviously, I'm not on the weekend pod, but I will not envy you if you have to talk down about losing to Southampton. Oh my God.
Deary me. Well, it's the early kickoff, Saturday lunchtime. I mean,
it makes the weekend awful if we lose.
It makes the weekend awful because it ruins the entire weekend.
And it's even earlier for you. You'd be up. It will literally your first.
It'll be 4:30. Yeah. That is commitment, folks. Not as much commitment as driving down from or getting the coach down from Manchester to Southampton. That will be a seriously early start for people who are doing that, who will give fantastic support as always. That's the best part of the club. Clearly, it's away support. Yes, please don't ruin my weekend. All our weekends. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone. You can catch this on all podcast platforms. You know that because you're listening, or YouTube. If you're watching, you know that too. We're on the socials. Thomas is at Thomas Mortimer on Twitter, X. I'm at NQATpod. Also that one for Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. And I finally started a TikTok account, which is just going to be the same stuff I post on Instagram, basically.
Woohoo! Gen Z.
And drop me a DM, slide into DMs on any of those platforms if you want to help out with the socials, because I could do with some help, honestly. Free intern. I may pay you a little bit. It won't be much. So, thanks everyone for listening. Really appreciate your support. And we'll catch you soon.